Most people still don't know what an NFT is.
I want to figure out some creative ways to do virtual events.
Just do it and then ask for forgiveness later instead of asking for permission in advance. Terry's with Movement Makers. He's been with us for over a year. And as a celebration, we're doing an extra live stream together. So here we are. It's happening. What's on your mind, man? How can I help?
Yeah, so I have a few questions here, primarily talking about. So the first thing is branding. You know, for like years, it took me a long time to really kind of be myself. I really kind of hid behind some logos, some domain names, and this, that, and the other. And 2 years ago, when I got connected with you, Movement Makers, and started Brandlytics and started doing all the things that I've been learning from you, I really learned how to come outside of my shell and be myself, be my own name, be my own brand. So I just want to kind of get your perspective on branding, self-branding, how to get a better message out there, because I don't really feel like I'm missing anything, but I just want to gain your perspective on better positioning.
Listen, I mean, you've done a great job too. Just in the clubhouse, you know, every time we do a clubhouse, I give you a compliment about how much you're getting better already. From because when did we start the Movement Makers Clubhouse? October?
October, I believe it was. Yeah.
Yeah. And you were already pretty good. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it just every month it's like, man, he's in 3 months gotten so much better already. And anyway, I'm super excited to see everything you built.
Hey, every month there's a new level, man. It keeps getting better.
Better. I'm excited to see what we bring for impact in January. What's your one word? What's your who?
So right now, well, my who, I'm reaching authors and entrepreneurs. Those are the people that I'm trying to reach. And my one word, I mean, it's been unbreakable with Bonnie. So me and Bonnie actually we sat down and I was like, you know what? I have a few different one words, but I believe that this year I'm going to change my one word to just that, change. Because here's the deal: for the last 2 years, a lot of things have happened. A lot of people have been, experiencing different things, and I believe that 2022 is the year of change. So for me, I'm shifting my one word over to change, because I want to make that change happen. I want you to be the change. I want people to start taking ownership and leadership within change. So that's my new one word for 2022 is change.
Okay, so one thing I would encourage you to do is that's maybe find like as an internal thing for what you bring more change into your life. But you started with brand, and the brand is what you get known for. And if you're changing, like the brand is really an emotion. What do I feel when I'm around Terry Wade Thompson? And the more you can make it easy for people to explain the brand and put a pulse on what that is, the easier it is for people to spread the message for you. The issue of changing it every year is that then you're not the same. I mean, you're the same Terry Wade Thompson, but you're making the message different every time for people to be able to spread the message for you. So the Believe guy, people know me as the Believe. Every day I get DMs of people taking a picture of Believe somewhere, a Believe sign, a Believe postcard, Believe something in the thrift store. Grant Cardone taking a picture of his kids wearing Believe pajamas. Like, that's what people know me for. If I said, hey, 2022, I still love Believe, but we're about whatever else, I'm about freedom. Then I never build enough of a brand, because I'm the freedom guy for 12 months and then I'm something else for another 12 months and nothing ever sticks. So it's okay to have different themes for the year, but like, what do you want to be known for? Is it unbreakable? Is it change? Is it something else? And that you can see yourself in 5 years and 7 years and 10 years still deeply caring about that thing, so that you actually allow for the momentum to build.
I love it. Great answer, by the way. I absolutely love that. And, I always struggled for years, once again, like I said, to kind of come into that. And I guess I've always been about change, because I always hit moving targets, different things, different ideas, and really kind of honing it into myself. I'm really actually just getting comfortable with being myself for the last couple of years. And like I said, I can definitely attribute that to you and Movement Makers for sure.
Okay, but is it change then? Is it unbreakable? Is it something else? What do we want to be known for?
I would say Unbreakable. And here's the reason why, because I believe that that has been a tremendously powerful message. And, you know, the longer that I have conversations with Bonnie, the more we talk about it, the more that we get involved with it, the more we believe it. I truly believe that Unbreakable is a tremendously powerful message. So I know changes for the change makers thing that I'm working on, but I would say Unbreakable. I would say Unbreakable.
Yeah, and it's not that change is not important to you, and being a change maker is not important to you either. It's just want to be known for, right? I mean, my program is movement makers, but on the top is believe.
Got it.
So I want to be the believe guy, and I want to try to inject believe into everything that I'm doing. Whether I accomplish it or not is another story, but it's always the intent going. So if the intent is the intent to make people change, is the intent to make people feel unbreakable, and both are noble. It's not like one's right and one's wrong. It's more what's right for you. But the more you stay consistent on it, the easier it is for people to talk about you and spread the message.
Got it. Makes sense.
Cool. So you don't have to have an answer right now, or maybe Unbreakable is it and you're good to go. But you sleep on it, you come back the next day, it should feel more and more right or more and more wrong. That does Terry Wade Thompson want to be the unbreakable guy, or is that Unbreakable is just part of what you do, but it's not at the core?
Love it. No, it makes 100% sense. So one of the things that I've also been thinking about is virtual events, because I heard you talking about something the other day when you was live with Tom, and it was one of those things about the Discord server, and I was like, that actually intrigued me, because I've been thinking about doing virtual events. Bonnie and I, we've been talking about, you know, what are we going to culminate with 2022? And we're talking about doing some type of a live event at the end of 2022. Of course, we're doing Clubhouse, we're doing different things. But how do you integrate virtual events, primarily Discord? Because I want to figure out some creative ways to do virtual events.
So Discord is interesting in that you can, if you have like the Unbreakable Discord group, you can do events, but it's audio only. Like if you're going to go inside Discord, it's audio only. The alternative is you just give a Zoom link and then you're going somewhere else. So I haven't done it personally because I don't like audio only as an experience for me. So like we do Clubhouse, it's great, but I love this. I love seeing the thing. And especially if I'm going to be doing an event, I'd much rather send people to a Zoom link where they can actually see me than have it audio only. What people have done, like what Tom does, is he'll do a Twitter space, which is kind of like Clubhouse, but Twitter space for half of it, and then move people to Discord for the second half of it. If you're part of his premium, you know, if you've bought one of the legendary key NFT things. But it really just depends. Do you want to do video first or do you want to do audio first? And if you want to do video, then you can use Clubhouse and Discord to be, here's the link to go to, that then is a Zoom link that people join. If you want it to be native within Discord and just have it be an audio experience, then you can just go live within Discord. It's more about the promotion, the setup, to be honest, in advance. So even like what you did for this, I saw you tag me earlier today on Twitter, going live with Evan at 2:00 Eastern. So what is this event that you're going to create that is different than a regular Clubhouse stream or a regular IG Live? Or I know you're doing your if you go on Zen show or Bonnie's there, what is the event going to be all around that gets people excited? That's not just a regular stream that you're doing, and allowing time for marketing and promotion of that and letting people know. And then whether it's Zoom or Discord, you send people there so they can sign up and pay attention.
Right. I love it. And I was actually trying that out last night. So last night I was trying to do audio, trying to do video, couldn't get none of it to work on Discord. So I was a little bummed out last night about that. I was like, man, I wanted to run some tests and this, that, and the other. So I'm always thinking of how can I repurpose content? And I know that's one of the great messages that I got from you before is how can I take something and repurpose it everywhere? So for something to be audio only, I mean, I definitely have a few places in which I can capture that audio and put that out there. I've seen some creative ways with that, which really brings me to NFTs and creator coins, because I see some really exciting things being done with that, to where you can take content and tie it to like the NFT or maybe a creator coin or whatever the benefits are, how you can tie that. So what are your thoughts on tying things into NFTs? Because I see you do some really awesome things and I want to dabble within that. What would be your recommendations for that?
So I think in the beginning of an NFT project, first you need to just explore and taste and be around. And I mean, before I ever made mine, I bought Tom's as in part of the community and just getting an understanding of it. There's the artwork and then there's the utility. So I think for you, especially, the utility is going to be a big part of it, so that if you buy the NFT, you also get X. You get access to your Changemakers program. You get access to a one-on-one with Terry for an hour or whatever. You get the T-shirt sent to you. Like there's some real world benefits to having it. I would aim on over delivering on the first series, because you're going to make mistakes and kind of not know what you're doing. I'm planning a much bigger launch coming up that we're working on right now, compared to my first one, which was my beta run kind of test series. So I think tying that in definitely helps. I think there's still a huge learning curve for a lot of people. So most people still don't know what an NFT is. Most people may have heard of it. Like the entrepreneurs may have heard of it, but they probably don't have a wallet set up. They probably don't know how to buy ETH. They probably don't, like, there's a lot of hurdles. So the easier way is to be a part of communities where people already have it, so that you don't have to educate on how to set up a wallet and how to buy ETH and all that kind of stuff. And then still to have options for people to, like, if you're going to do coaching, you can have your coaching that's regular USD, whatever it is, an hour to hire you to be a coach, or per month or whatever. But you can have an option through an NFT for people who already know what that is and have a wallet to get the coaching plus artwork, you know, and it's tied to utility around it. But I think it's still hard to make that the main thing. Like, look at how hard it is, even for movement makers. We're pushing hard to get everybody on the Discord. And we're still, like, some people still aren't on Discord. Some people still aren't as active as they should be on Discord. And Discord is easy compared to setting up a wallet and buying ETH and figuring out all that stuff. So it creates a barrier, a giant barrier for people who don't know anything about NFTs, and you're going to be losing a lot of customers if that's that they can buy. But if it's something that, hey, here's one option and here's another option. Like if somebody wants to interview me, right? We have a section on the website, have an interview with Evan. And it's traditionally been buy a certain number of books. Like if you buy X, I forget what it is. It's a deal with my publisher. Like buy X number of books and Evan will come on your podcast for 25 minutes. So we have that as an option. Or you could buy one of Evan's NFTs that also gets you the same thing. So you get the NFT plus the interview, or you get however many books plus the interview. So you're giving people options, as opposed to just making it limited. But I think there's a play there. I think it's less about the artwork and more about the utility that's been added on top of it, and making sure there's enough value in there that people want to sign up.
Yeah, and that's how I've been thinking about it as well, too. You know, and I remember you saying that previously about the utility. You know, what are the benefits that you can tie to it? If I can tie it to maybe a one-on-one, you know, a Zoom call, whether it's an Instagram live stream or private coaching, whatever the case would be. The other cool thing is the increase in value, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe that it does increase in value. If somebody purchases an NFT, I guess you get this much ETH. And once again, there's a lot of learning, I understand, but to my understanding, that would increase in value as well too.
Well, it increases in value if you keep building the brand.
Got it.
Right? I mean, a lot of NFTs are overhyped and are going to zero. So it really just depends on, are you going to keep working the brand to keep increasing the value, right?
Got it.
I don't know. This hoodie could be worth something, or it could be worth nothing, right? So if you're going to add some rarity to it, that, hey, there's only 1,000 Terry Way Thompson NFTs that are going to be in this collection, that might be worth something. That might go up over time. but it also just might stay zero if you never do anything, right?
Right.
So that's why I would, if I'm you, I would add so much utility that it's worth it just because. It's worth it because they're going to get the time with you, and that's more than worth the value that they're going to spend on it. And then anything else is upside.
Love it. And that reminds me of distribution. So I see a lot of different things that are happening out there. I'm telling you, when I had that interview with Dame Dash on Clubhouse, that just opened my mind to a whole lot of different things. And as I've been paying attention to Brendan Burchard, I see distribution being a real key thing. So building out apps, creating your own platform to where you can put your own content behind a subscription paywall and this, that. Is that something that you've considered? And do you see that as an opportunity for either Unbreakable Stories or even myself? Because I'm actually considering doing an app, some type of a subscription, content-only subscription model type thing. What are your thoughts about that?
Every business model can work. Those are just business models. Whether it's a service that you're doing, like you're doing with the author stuff, whether it's a membership program, like you're doing with Changemakers, whether it's a coaching program that you're doing, whether it's content, all of it can work. What do you want to make? So, as an example, with Brandlytics is my YouTube training. I did Brandlytics on the advice of my agent, who's helped launch a lot of successful info product stuff. And I recorded all the videos and launched it as a program. And it was whatever, $2,000, or I forget what it was, to get all the training. What I realized, a year in, 8 months in, 9 months in, that some of the content started to get old. Not all of it, but some of it, because the screen share would be different, because YouTube's back end changed, they updated the layout, and now the content wasn't as relevant. And a year in, I realized, okay, I need to re-record. If I'm going to keep selling this, I need to re-record it. Which is standard. It's standard practice. Like, unless you're teaching evergreen stuff, which maybe is what you could do. If you're going to teach evergreen, timeless leadership principles, maybe you never need to re-record it, because it's always great. And just be careful in your examples to always share stories that in a year, 2 years, 5 years, still relevant. I found myself not wanting to re-record it. I didn't want to go back into the studio and re-record it. I like the community too much. Like, I like the interaction too much. Movement Makers as it is doesn't actually make the most practical sense for me, because it requires me to be there every 2 weeks. So just efficiency doesn't make sense. If I just created a course and charged $1,000 for it and re-recorded it once a year, it'd make a lot more money and be a lot more efficient. It's just not exciting for me. I don't like it.
Right.
I like seeing you guys in 2 weeks. It's a calendar for Thursday, like, let's go.
I love it. I get excited too.
Thursday, or Tuesday, like, hey, let's do this. Right. So I think love matters. Like, what are you passionate about matters. And so every business model can work. Do you want to be the person who's making content that's behind the paywall? Yes, that like really gets you excited. Amazing. Go and do it. No, then you don't have to do it. So it's much more about like, what can you get really pumped up to actually go off and create?
Right. I like it. Yeah, I love it. And I look forward to it every 2 weeks when I can participate. Sometimes I have some other things going on, but I love it. I'm telling you, Movement Makers is an absolutely amazing community. I've met some great people. We've done some good collaborations, and I love these challenges. You put out those challenges and you get everybody thinking, you get everybody to take an action. And it's taken on, I'm telling you, it's taken on a life of its own. It truly has. And I know me, for one, I've gotten excited about it. So when you started thinking about the challenges, because I want to do that within my communities as well too, and I know you're a part of some powerful communities. How have you seen challenges done, and what is like the most interesting challenge that you've participated in?
I think the biggest thing about challenges is it has to feel like it's a community thing. Which is why it's not just the Movement Maker Challenge is 1 solo video, 3 collab videos, and 1 lead magnet. The most important part to keep momentum going is the 3 collaborations. The thing that will help the business grow the most is probably the lead magnet. It's to force people into action But if it's just something that people are doing by themselves, they're probably not going to do it. And so forcing community and forcing connection is the thing that makes the challenges go. You may not feel like making a video an impact today, but because IG Live with Angela agreed to go live with, like, okay, well, Angela's going to be there, so I'm going to be there. Let's do it together. And then it's great. And then all of a sudden you have content that you didn't have before. And I think a lot of the people, the challenges were born out of, I want two things. One, I want people to have more momentum. Like I'm talking and giving strategies around content. We're giving you the template. Like, here's the thought leadership template. Connect to each other. Like, we're saying it, but still some people aren't doing it. It's like, how can I force people to do it? You know, it's like, if you just started, right? You just got going, you'll start to get more momentum. And so that was one. And two, I still really believe there's so many amazing connections inside movement makers and inside any community that it can't just run through the leader, right? The fact that you and Bonnie met through my live stream and then started this whole business together, I think that's amazing. I think there's a lot more of those opportunities for people. So if you're going to create your own community, it's great for you to get to know everybody and to help them and to coach them and do one-on-ones and to look at. I mean, I connected you guys together on the live stream because I knew you and I knew Bonnie, and I forget what I said, but like, hey, you should talk about something. Maybe there's as long as it relies on me or you as the leader, it's always going to be limited because you have to know everybody and what they're working on. And you only have so many hours in a day to get to know everybody, right? The more that they can connect to each other and create businesses together that way, or just momentum or cheering each other on, that's where I think that we create giant ripple effects. So it started with the breakout session. It actually started with the mastermind calls, which I don't know if you probably signed up for.
I did. Yeah, I received a couple, but once again, it was a matter of taking action. When I reached out, it's like I didn't get that back. So it was just eventually, I think it just eventually just fell out.
It failed. I mean, it was a failed experiment. The idea was, Movement Makers at the beginning was me teaching for 85 minutes on something and questions, but it was just come and learn from me. And then I thought, I want people to connect to each other. So our brainstorm idea was mastermind calls, where it's like, who wants to support each other throughout the month and get on a call once a week? And some people signed up, some people didn't. And the ones who signed up, there was very little follow through. Some people called, the other person didn't show up. And so we tried it for 2 or 3 months and realized this doesn't work. Like, it's a great idea, but it just doesn't work. And so we turned the mastermind calls into breakout sessions inside the group, where it's only half talking to me, and not quite, but a good chunk of time is spent you guys connecting to each other. And that worked. Like, for some people, that's their favorite part. And
it is.
And I give you an assignment, like, hey, talk about this in the breakout rooms. And half the time, people don't even talk about the thing that I said to talk about.
I love those
conversation, but it's better. Like, it's great. You know, you end up making great connections and having great conversations and supporting each other in ways that I could never dream of myself.
And those are powerful. Those breakout rooms are truly powerful because I mean, and you're right. So sometimes the conversation does drift off a little bit. So we get in there, we connect. It's like, hey, what did you learn? What was the key takeaway? And once everybody shares that, it's like, okay, we got 15 more minutes. What do we do now? Well, let's talk. What are you doing? What are you working on? How can I get involved? And I think that's the power of, once again, connecting. It, like you said, it starts with the leader and then it goes from there. And it's how you utilize the platform. So having those breakout rooms, for me, it's been powerful because I've been able to be kind of a leader within the breakout rooms as well, too, because we'll get in there. I'll take charge of the 5 or 6 people that's in there. I was like, all right, here we go. Let's do this. Let's collaborate. And once again, I think the breakout rooms, people can become leaders within the community as well, too. And I believe that's powerful. You know, it's that 360-degree leadership that really makes it a big community.
And I think it all comes down to what do you want to do? For me, it's never been about me. I want people to grow and learn, and I recognize that I have to step up and lead for things to happen, but it's never been about only me. So I love the idea of breakout rooms. I love that people are connecting and they met through movement makers, but I had zero to do with it. For other people, they want it to be about them. It's like that's their goal. It's like, I want to be the guy. I want to be the face. I want to build my personal brand, and you're going to come and listen to me. And that model works super well too. And it's not about community, and they don't need to have breakout rooms. So this is really more about, well, what do you want to make? Back to the question of, Dame Dash and distribution and all that. All of it can work, but the one that will work best is the one that gets you fired up the most, right? I like breakout rooms as not just a strategy, but it warms my heart, like to know that you guys are doing this. I'm always curious to know what happens inside the breakout rooms, but I know, like, if I join, it's going to change the dynamics. Just let them do their thing. It's great that they're connecting.
Yeah,
it works because Movement Makers is not about me,
right?
But if you want to build something about you, that works too. It's not that this is the only model. So when you're creating your program, the best thing to do is just model the programs that you love the most. If you love Movement Makers, take the best parts of Movement Makers and make that into your own. And whatever you don't like about Movement Makers, or whatever you love about somebody else's program, incorporate bits of that. So then you have your own Gary Thompson model.
Yeah, and I've done that within Changemaker. So as I was thinking about designing it, developing it, creating it, so I took kind of exactly what you said. I took a lot of the best parts and pieces of a lot of different things that I'm involved in that I've seen examples of, because there's examples of what right looks like. But once again, it's what right looks like for you. And for me, I'm pretty positive that I have a pretty good example within Changemakers of what right looks like on everything that I've experienced, which once again is the future of education. I've asked you this before about the future of education. I truly believe that certification programs are really powerful. And I see John Maxwell doing it. I see Jay Shetty doing it. I see other people doing certification type programs. I think that there's an opportunity for entrepreneurs within certification programs to really kind of step out within that space. What are your thoughts about certification? Because I know there's not many entrepreneurs taking advantage of certifications within the space.
I think it depends on what your goal is. Certification alone doesn't mean anything. It's what do you do with the information that you're taught. So a lot of people will sign up and take a course and, well, I'm a X. Just because you're a John Maxwell certified person doesn't mean that you did much. Like, it doesn't take much to actually get certification, right? Like, pretty much everyone who pays is going to get certification. So you just bought it. It doesn't really mean anything. But it's more, you take the information and do something with it. So for me, for Movement Makers, I'm less concerned about giving people a certificate that they can put on their Instagram to say, look, I'm certified in being a thought leader, and more concerned about, like, are you making content and getting the message out, right? So that's more of it's a personal choice. Like, you can do whatever you lean in on more. I think entrepreneurs usually don't care as much about certification because they're trying to do their own thing. But in terms of launching a program that other people can leverage, there's nothing wrong with having a certificate program attached to it. But if you want the thing to grow, it's really more about, are your students getting momentum? Like, every time we lose a Movement Maker member, it always, like, jabs at my heart. It's like, how did we fail this person? How did they just not make enough content? Were they just not ready? Did we not support them enough? Were they confused somewhere along the way? And it's going to happen. You'll always have people leave at some point for whatever reason. Maybe it just wasn't for them. But I'll default to saying, okay, where did we screw up, and where did we? And nobody's ever said the reason why I'm leaving is because there's no certificate or I didn't get certified, right? They're leaving because of something else, right? And so there's nothing wrong with it. It's fine, do it. But the reason that people will stick and the reason that people will continue to talk about you is because you help them actually make progress. And where some people kind of fall down on certification is they're so worried about making. It's why I made a membership program, because I spent so much time building out Brandlytics and realized people aren't even going through the training. So you can buy the training, get certified, but barely have gone through it and get no results. And so I felt like if it's a membership where people are showing up, they're more likely to follow through and do something on it.
Well, they're missing out because I bought Brandlytics. I paid, I think it was $1,000 for it. I dove into it. I watched every single video like the day one, and started writing out templates. I got a template. I even typed it up over here. So I used a thought leader video template for my videos. I was like, man, this is great. So everything that you have within Brandlytics, I mean, I can vouch for it. I mean, it gave me a framework on how to create videos, how to create great titles, how to look at things, how to dive into analytics on my own channel to get a better understanding. So, man, I mean, they're cheating themselves, honestly. I love Brandlytics.
This is all education, though, right? Like most people buy a book and never open it, and you know that. I mean, for all the authors you've helped, this just sits on a shelf for most people. And like I poured my heart into this, and like if you apply this, it will change your life. And look, a lot of authors believe that, and a lot of people create programs. That's the intent going into it for many people. But then they don't crack open the cover. I mean, I've ordered lots of books that sit inside my shelf here that I haven't read.
I got a bunch right back here that they're there. I have them.
That's education and that's training. Just one of my favorite thoughts around this was Bill Gates, who talked about it's really hard to learn and make progress by yourself. And so when you feel like you're doing something together in a community, he was being asked about the benefits of college, and that, he said, was the biggest benefit, is that you're doing something with people. And I think self-education is fantastic, but we're likely to let ourselves down, and we're likely not going to follow through. And so when you feel like you're part of community, you're much more likely to follow through. So then the job of anybody who is creating content is to create community. So it's why we built the Serve. I created a community where we've got, every week we go live, and we've been doing it for a couple of years now. And the book is, I don't know how many years old now at this point. And the lessons are still valuable, and we still go live every week because I don't want it to just be something that collects dust on somebody's bookshelf. Like, this matters. And a lot of authors will just do like launch week, and then that's it. Where, Darren, like, I want you to read the book, and I want you to apply the lessons to your life, and the community helps do that. So I think the future, if you're looking at the future of training and education, does it go paywall? Does it go apps? Sure, there's always going to be different business models, but I think effectiveness will come down to how well can you build community. And at the beginning, it's you. Like at the beginning, if you have 10 people who join Changemakers at the very start, that's you. Like, you're the glue. You DMing people, telling them to keep going, encouraging them. It's Terry. Terry's belief in them will give them belief in themselves. As you scale, you can't reach everybody consistently because it's just too many people. So then it's team under you helping push and accelerate. But more than that is them to each other, that they have peers, that they're not doing this alone, and that you don't always have to be there for them to be able to take some kind of action. You're creating the system and the infrastructure, but then they're connecting to each other. I think that's the future of education, for getting people to actually take action.
I love it. So, and I got one final thing, and it's really more of an ask. Evan, man, I've followed you for years. I love everything that you're doing. I just want to say first and foremost that you are an absolutely amazing and a powerful thought leader. You've changed lives worldwide. And I would like to believe that I've emulated and modeled a lot of the best parts of the things that I've learned with you, being a part of your community for the last 2 years, being a part of Brandlytics, being a part of Movement Makers, being a part of, the many things that's Evan Carmichael. I have really an ask. I want to create a hero video of you, and I wanted to see do you mind if I create a hero video of you and put that on my channel?
Go for it. I mean, I don't think anybody will. First off, thank you for the kind words. That's the kind of thing, like, don't ask for permission, just go and do it. And
Got it.
Yes, you're asking for forgiveness, but most people are not going to be upset if you're creating a tribute or hero video to them. I see Yuko here in the house who's saying great answer on the last question. And she's a great example. Yuko, she's maybe an hour and a half away from where I am in Toronto. And she came to my studio. I forget why. I forget what we had. I remember she brought butter tarts, which were amazing, homemade butter tarts. and homemade matcha butter tarts, like green tea butter tarts. And we had a quick discussion, and she was sharing a lot of my stuff in Twitter in Japanese. So she's my content. And again, like, just do it and then ask for forgiveness later instead of asking for permission in advance. She was taking the content and then translating it into Japanese and sharing it with her audience in Japanese. And she came to the studio. We had a quick discussion, and she wanted to have a bigger voice and do more in English as well. So I challenged her to go do something, like go to Union Station. It's our busiest kind of train subway station in Toronto, and go make a video with somebody. And at the time, she was like terrified, and oh my gosh, I could never do that, and you know, like the pressure of doing it today, not in a week or next month or next year or whatever. Like, you got to do. She says 4 years ago today. Was that today, Yuko? 4 years ago today, I met Evan.
Wow.
Well, that's a great story to tell then.
Yuko's awesome. I love joining her on her live streams. Between her and Tessa, I love their show as well too.
So you look at Yuko's growth, right? So I challenged her 4 years ago today to go do that. And she did. And she went and she found a woman who talked about her backpack or something. And she's sitting there at Union Station filming her video in English. And she had all these worries about I'm shy and English is my second language and there's so many people around and all of the thoughts that we had. So she went and did it, and amazing. And she posted and you know, we cheered her on. I haven't been meeting Yuko every week at my studio. Like, she came to my thought leadership program, but I haven't been meeting Yuko every week, pushing her. And yet she's grown so much because of you guys, because of movement, because of the community, because you guys are connecting to each other every 2 weeks, because she'll post a picture later, because she started the show with Tessa. Like, that's another one where I wasn't even a part of that. Tessa and Yuko, they're both in the Toronto area, but I never said you guys need to go make a show. It just happened, right? So that's where, when you're creating your program, at the beginning, you're pushing people, you're pushing them to change and to be unbreakable, and you'll find great challenges to get them to go off and do. And Yuko did it because she promised me she would do it, and she doesn't want to let me down now, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing. You'll challenge one of your students, and they don't want to let you down because they know you're going to message them later on tonight and say, "Hey, how'd you do? Where's the video? Where's the post? Where's the whatever?" Right? So they don't want to let you down, so they'll do it. And in that, you giving them permission, now they'll do it. Where maybe they spent 3 years thinking about it and they've never done it, but now they will because you pushed them to do it. But again, that is not a sustainable, long-term, at scale strategy. And so Yuko is a great example in that she's growing and doing a lot more without me being, I mean, maybe I'm the leader, I guess, as part of Movement Makers, but I haven't had a call pushing Yuko to say, Yuko, you got to go do this thing. But she's doing it because the community is making that happen. So I think you're totally capable of doing it. It's just the first people who come in, you love and care and push and support. And then at some point it's going to become too, unmanageable, that you can't handle all of that running through you. And so you create the structure for community learning and push too. Mm-hmm. But that was just a quick Yuko story. I saw her in the chat. Yeah. But in terms of making a hero video, yeah, go for it. And I think
awesome.
If there's anybody, like if you learn from Dame Dash, make a Dame Dash hero video and let them know about it. He's probably not going to say, Terry, I hate your face, take it down, right? I mean, they either ignore it or it doesn't get on their radar, or likely they say thank you. And so, yeah, as long as
I've been sharing his stuff. So I'm actually connected to them now. So I actually made friends with a couple of people directly connected to them. So that club, that's the power of Clubhouse. Meeting a couple of people that I did there got me directly connected. So I do have a couple of people. So I'm still actually sharing Dame Dash content. I'm still sharing stuff. I mean, it's from his connections, but once again, it's all directly related, directly connected anyway.
Yeah, and as long as the intent is positive, just do it. Mm-hmm. Because the likelihood of, to wait to get a yes usually takes a long time. I mean, we're obviously doing this, so it's easy to get a yes, but to get a yes, just in general, not just for you, but everybody watching, like to wait to get a yes takes forever. Mm-hmm. So don't wait for that to be the reason for you to press the pause button. And the likelihood of them hating what you're doing, as long as the intent is positive, is super, super low. So just go off and create and make. And again, as long as the intent is positive, put it out there.
I love it. Evan, you're awesome, man. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the valuable feedback. You always give me valuable feedback, and more importantly, action to go take. So now I'm filled with, as you say, I'm filled with energy, ready to go take action, ready to go make change happen. Man, I'm telling you, you make me unbreakable, Evan.
Terry Wade Thompson in the house. Appreciate you, man. Another year at Movement Makers. Thank you for the love and energy that you always bring. And we'll see you Thursday, next session.
I love it, man. Thanks.
Much love. Take care, everybody.
If you want to see another awesome one-on-one I did with an entrepreneur just like you, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Keep building, keep creating, keep having content. You build your own audience, and every piece of content, you gain a new person who loves your world and your mission. And